How's it going, guys? So we're back. I had a lot of positive feedback on my last video of this car, so I figured I'd make another one just to show you guys how it's going, a little bit of progress here. It's been probably about a month and a half, 2 months with this car, so figured to make a little update. So if you haven't seen the first video of this, you should go watch that because you can really see the difference here. It was really rough when I got it, and it's still pretty rough, but it's much better, much improved. We got some modifications, we got a lot of maintenance, and we're gonna go through that in this video. So for those of you who don't know, this is my 2007 Subaru Outback 3.0R L.L.Bean edition. It's got 267,000 miles, 266 and change. One owner car. It's super whipped for one owner car, but I mean, it's been well used. Like, this thing was not super well taken care of. But yeah, I guess let's just jump into it. So last time you saw this thing, it was factory, just stock everything as I got it. It was super dirty, everything was broken. It was in really bad shape. There's front end damage. There's still front end damage. It's a little better, but not really. I guess we could start with that. So it has a deer damage here. In the last video you saw, the hood was like popped up like pretty bad, and it was like raised. It's still loose a little bit, and there's obviously a gap here, but I was able to get it down to line up most of the way. So like, if you look at it from the driver's side, it actually doesn't look half bad, other than the paint that's peeling really bad on the fender. Well, we're up in the front end here. You can see I've got different headlights on this thing. Now they are dirty and super faded out, but these are headlights from a 2005 Outback XT, and then I heated them up in an oven, and I took the amber plates out just to give it like a nice cleaner look. I like the look of the amber deletes a lot better than the stock things or whatever. And then the other thing about the dark headlights, or the XT models, some of the years had dark headlights, so you can see the housings in the back are got a black finish on them. They're just, it's nothing special, it just looks a little bit cleaner in my opinion. I had a set of these laying around, so I had to fix it because my OEM headlights, the previous ones, were super roached out, and the tabs were all broken off from the deer damage and all that stuff. So I left the tow hook in there because I think it's kind of funny. I kind of want to get like a longer one that's a little bit bigger, and then I can put a cover on there and then drill a hole in it so that it'll stick outside of the cover or whatever. Maybe we'll see what happens. I don't have a color matched cover for that, so that's why I kind of decided to leave it on instead of just putting like the wrong color one on there. So anyway, I guess we'll move on. So you might have noticed it's got a pretty tall stance to it. I did a 2-inch lift onto this car because I was kind of a little bit peer pressured by some of my friends into doing it. One of my friends actually had the lift spacers, the strut spacers for it, so he gave them to me. So I was like, all right, I gotta do the lift now. And I did it right. I did the multi-link suspension correction kit. I did a carrier bearing drop on it. We have more or less high quality parts for everything. All the bolts are high quality. But the strut top spacers are kind of a little bit cheese aluminum, like eBay stuff. So it's not really the best in terms of quality there, but I mean, it didn't cost me very much money to do it, maybe a couple $100 in you know, parts and just my labor time, because we custom made all of the brackets and everything for that. So I didn't go with there's a lot of kits out there like the ADF kit, which is really good, but it's like $600. So another big change that we've seen here that you could probably see, I've got these big ass tires on here. These are Falcon Wild Peak ATs that I got on Facebook Marketplace for $100. Now the tread wear is a little low, but for $100 I figured, you know, like, might as well. We're doing the lift, we're doing everything, I might as well get some big tires to fit it, some all-terrain tires. And these aren't gonna probably last more than a year just with the tread wear on them, but I think I like the way they look, and they drive super nice on the road and off the road, so I like them. The size on these is 225 65 R17. So I kept the stock L.L.Bean wheels because I really like them, but I decided to go with a little bit bigger of a tire, just because A, that's what I was able to find on Facebook Marketplace for all-terrains, and B, I wanted to step it up just a little bit. I think that the factory height on these is 225 55 R17, so I went up just a little bit on size. Now, if you are looking to put big tires on your Outback, don't do this, all right? The biggest I would say that you should go is 225/60 R17s, because the 65s like hardly fit, and they have a lot of rubbing. As you can see, I've kind of trimmed the bumpers a little bit on the front bumper, and then the rear mud flaps on the front wheel well. So we're still on the front, I guess. Not doing an amazing job of explaining that, but you get the idea. I had to trim quite a bit of stuff, and it still rubs just a little bit, especially off-road. The rears rub a little bit under full tuck, so that kind of sucks, but I don't know. It's just one thing. You live and you learn. Don't go to 65s or bigger unless you're gonna do like a 6-inch lift or crazy wheel spacers or something like that, because for a daily driver, the 65s are too much. And especially if you don't have a high power engine, it's gonna suck to drive. I mean, I can feel the weight of these things with the H6 motor. I can't imagine driving a 2.5i with these big tires. It would just suck. Anyway, moving on to the back here, we've got this, you probably noticed, we got quad tips on this thing. So all of the stuff that's done to this car, you'll probably notice is a theme here. And the theme is that everything is on a budget. We're doing Facebook Marketplace all the way. I'm doing DIY as much as I can. Just trying to keep this thing cheap, because this car is high mileage and it is in kind of rough shape, and the value on it is kind of not gonna go up even with the maintenance I put in, just because of the mileage. So kind of sucks for that, but, and you know, I'm a college student, kind of on a budget here. But anyway, the exhaust. So this is a 2021 STI Catback that I found on Facebook, and I paid $30 for it. So the whole thing, the mid-pipe and both mufflers, which is kind of a huge steal. Usually you can get these kits for like $200 to $300. Actually, $150 to $300, I would say, is probably about the range that I see these sell for on Marketplace often. And they're okay. I mean, it's a good mod if you want a little bit louder of an exhaust on your car, on any of these third gen Outbacks, the BP chassis. If you want a little bit louder of an exhaust note, but you don't want it to be like loud, you just want to change the exhaust note, this is perfect. I can barely tell that it has an exhaust just driving around, but if you really punch it, you get your foot in the gas, you get the RPMs up, it sounds great. I mean, it really does, and it has a nice note from outside the vehicle, and inside the vehicle, you could hear it a little bit more than stock, but it's hardly noticeable, so it's perfect for a daily driver. And if you don't want to like piss people off driving around, especially in a neighborhood, especially in the morning, cold starts. I mean, it is a little loud on a cold start, but once you warm up, you can hardly hear it when it's running. I'll insert some videos into this too later on, but you get the idea. Now, I'll kind of give a little bit of a walkthrough on that too. I did have to modify the hangers on that for the back just a little bit. And then if you're gonna do this, I can make a run through on this, and I probably will as well. You need to modify the exhaust flange where the catalytic converter is on the stock exhaust to the mid pipe on the STI exhaust, WRX or STI exhaust. You gotta modify that or do what I did here, which I guess I'll show you. So I have a split flange. I think it was a 2 1/4 inch split flange. And then I have a Turbo XS 225 or 2 1/4 to 3 inch adapter for my old Subaru, or for my Forester. The exhaust on that thing, I had that adapter, and I just had it laying around, so I used that. I wouldn't really recommend doing this way if you're trying to do this exhaust yourself, but just kind of use what I had around, and it ended up working out. This way that I did it avoids cutting and welding, so I can just easily reattach the stock exhaust if I want to, and or sell the STI exhaust as factory, and I don't have to ruin the value of that. So that was good. I like doing that. It was kind of a pain to do everything, get it all fitment, or all the fitment situated and everything, but it worked out, and I'm happy with it, and I'm happy I did it. So yeah. Another thing, I had to relocate the rear sway bar. I had to move it up a little bit, and it still kind of hits the exhaust. You won't probably have to do that if you just do the exhaust, but if you do the lift and the exhaust, it doesn't clear totally super well. So I'm gonna probably have to get a different sway bar or figure something out with that anyway, because it kind of started hitting last time I went off-road with this car. So just something to keep in mind. I really like the stance on this thing, actually. I'm a huge like lowered car guy, so this is kind of like a new thing for me to do a lift, but I'm here for it actually. I kind of like it. I think it looks good, especially with the tires. It drives like just about the same as it does stock, except I have a lot of suspension noise, which is kind of like pre-existing conditions. I mean, again, this car's that many miles, it's not going to be perfect, and I need to go through some of those things again, like my sway bar links on the front, and I guess the rear. I have new ones for the rear too, but that'll get done soon. Hopefully that'll fix most of my suspension noise. So yeah, as for leaks, I noticed, or I had noted in the previous video, that there was a fair bit of oil leaks on this car from the front of the motor. It seems like it actually kind of went away a little bit, or I just washed all that stuff off and it was just like crud built up from the years of sitting and everything. Because it does leak from the timing cover, right? And I think the oil cooler O-rings are leaking too, which is a common thing on these. And so then I'll just do that eventually down the road. Not really a huge issue for me, I'm not gonna lie. It's just kind of like, I've always had cars with oil leaks, and it doesn't leak enough to smoke or anything, and it doesn't leak enough for me to notice it. So I'm probably just gonna leave it, honestly, as this is a daily, and I don't really need to keep it perfect. It's just kind of the name of the game on this car. I kind of like that it's a little rough, because then I don't have to like stress about where I park, or you know, always keeping it clean, or worrying about like scratching it with the brush in the car wash or the rollers or whatever. It's just kind of like just a car, and you can use it, and I like that. So I guess we'll move on. I have the roof box from the Forester on here, since the Forester is actually down right now. If you guys are following my channel, Forester blew a cam seal on the front, so now it's spraying oil everywhere. So I got to get that figured out, and hopefully that'll be sometime soon. I don't have a lot of time, and I'm obviously going to do it myself, so that's probably going to end up getting done in the next couple months or so. But I have this car, so I don't really need to worry about it too terribly much. But yeah, I'm gonna pop the hood. I'll show you guys what we've done under there. Fair bit of maintenance, so. All right, so you can see the 3-liter flat 6 under here, and this is the original engine, the original transmission, which is, I don't know, I like to boast that a lot when people ask, because it's a Subaru, right? And these things kind of aren't the most reliable. They kind of blow up a lot. But the H6 is the workhorse of the Subaru lineup. Like, I always tell people, this is the Toyota of Subaru engines. Like, these things just go and go and go, and as long as you don't overheat them and you know, I guess change your oil, then you'll be okay. I mean, it doesn't even burn oil, and it has 266,000 miles. It's more than most Subaru owners can say, for sure. Things I've done under here. So we've done new radiator. So the original one, it wasn't leaking, but it had a nice hairline crack along the edge. So I was like, you know what, I'm taking this thing to Phoenix, which is where this video is being currently filmed, by the way. I'm from Flagstaff, and I go to college down in Phoenix, so I kind of need this thing to stay in tip-top shape cooling system-wise, because it gets up to like 110 degrees here in the summers, and we're approaching that. And I really don't want to have to deal with coolant issues in the summer. So got a whole new radiator. I just didn't want to worry about it. It's a Koyo Rad radiator, so it's high quality. I didn't get anything super cheap. I always do. For engine stuff that matters, I always get the OEM or better. It's just, there's no compromises there in my mind. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to keep it reliable and on the road. But got a whole new radiator, and then I was driving around with the radiator, this one, and then I noticed a little bit of coolant smell and stuff, and there was coolant kind of sprayed all over the engine over here, and I was like, okay. And sure enough, I had blown one of the hoses, and then I was like, well, if one of them's going out, they're probably all going out, so I just ordered all 3. So we have all 3 factory Subaru coolant hoses down there, so that's good. Now I can kind of rest easy and not worry about having leaks or anything like that. So that is something I like. I changed the oil on it since the last time I made a video, and it's not due yet. I actually will probably end up changing the oil on this car like every 3,000 or 4,000 miles, just because on a higher mileage car I like to do it early, and it kind of gets driven pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. Especially in this last week, I've just been having fun down here in the low elevation, just letting that flat 6 roar. But yeah, it's been solid and reliable. I haven't had any new issues pop up with it, other than the one thing I need to fix on this, which I've ordered and I actually already have it back at my house, is the belt tensioner, which this is a huge H6 problem. All of them, every year, Subaru H6, even the 3.6. It's for some reason, these tensioners, they love to fail. The bearing in there fails, and you get kind of like a grinding, scratching noise. Now mine hasn't thrown the belt, but I heard it. I've been hearing it since I bought the car, like kind of when it's just idling or whatever. I'll see if I can put in a sound clip. And I thought it was the timing chains, but you can actually see like the back of the tensioner like rattling and stuff when it's running. And it makes that sound, and so I'm like, okay, well, it's a tensioner for sure. So that's a good thing. I don't have to do timing chains on this, or at least hopefully, I guess, knock on wood. But yeah, it should be good. I'll be doing that pretty soon. Whether or not I make a video on it, probably won't, because I know there's a ton of those already out there, and I don't really have a good space to work down here, so it'll end up being done in a parking lot somewhere. So you know, just kind of the way that goes. Same with the sway bar links. I bought both front and rear, all 4 of them, so should be good there. I already did new sway bar bushings on the front, so that's done. Other things maintenance wise, I did 2 drain and fills on the transmission. I wish I probably just got it flushed. I probably wish I just got it flushed, but 2 drain and fills is like 3/4 of the new fluid, and I of course used Subaru Idemitsu HP. So we got factory fluid in there. It's shifting way better than it did before. Like it's crisp now, and it used to be super sluggish and kind of sloppy and whatever. I mean, it's still sloppy because it's an old school automatic, but it's not like sloppy in a slow bad way. It's just torque converters. Yeah, I guess we can move on to the interior because there's not a whole lot left to talk about. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff in the making here, like a ton of little things maintenance wise that I just haven't really gotten around to, and things that I've forgotten. I mean, I've put probably close to $2,000 of parts into this car, everything included. So I paid $1,600 for the car, and last time I just tallied up the budget, I was like $3,000 in. So, and that was right after I bought the belt tensioner and stuff. So yeah, we're probably about $3,000 into this car, which is probably the top of the value that it's ever going to be worth. I mean, it's crashed and it has the miles that it has, so it kind of sucks that I'm a little upside down on this one, but I'm planning on keeping it for a while, so I'm not super worried about making money, I guess, if you will, or equity, but kind of is what it is. But we'll move on. All right. So I left the hood open because why not? But we're in the interior. I got it way cleaner than it was last time in the video, so you guys will see that. I'm still missing a sun visor up here, and I can't find one. It seems like every junkyard people have grabbed them off of every single Subaru that's out there, so still waiting on that. I did end up replacing the sensor in here, which you can see it's still loose because I haven't put the screws back in, because I was going to replace this cover on here. I replaced the whole module, and then I realized that I need the 07 plus airbag plug, so I have that actually in the back. I'll show you guys that. That fixed the airbag light. That's a common thing on these too. It's this little thing that just shows which seatbelt, or if the passenger airbag is on and which seatbelts are unbuckled. And there's a solder joint in here somewhere that goes bad, and that's why that throws the light. Now you can resolder them. I just grabbed another one out of the junkyard and it ended up working for me, so that's a bonus there. I need to take it out and put this new plate in here though, because it is the wrong one. Like, I'll show you. See, it doesn't light up in the right spot, so I gotta put the old, or I guess the newer plaque in there to back, or for the backlighting. I need to put the newer plaque on so that it works correctly. Yeah, everything is more or less cleaned up in here. It's not as nasty and dirty. Seat's cleaned up well. The driver's seat did rip actually since the last time I made a video. I cleaned it out, whatever. It was probably like a week or two after just driving this thing for a while, and it ripped, and so that's disappointing. But I mean, it's honestly, I'm not surprised, just because it's got so many miles on it and it's so old and it's been sitting in the sun for the last 5 years without even being touched. So a little bit of stuff like that. There's just a lot of wear and tear in here, but nothing like super major, just more of just age stuff. The dash still looks phenomenal. There's like one nick on the corner over there right on the top of the air vent, but other than that, it's perfect, which is kind of nice because these had like sticky dash problems and cracking dash problems pretty bad. At least in the earlier years. This isn't 07, so it's kind of hopefully a little bit past that, but who knows. Another thing I still need to get, this. I'm missing the knob for this, and I don't know why, but I did get another block. I just have to replace it. So that's a thing. I don't remember if I figured it out in the last video or not, but this is the VDC equipped model. So this is the full top of the line Outback that you could buy, which is kind of sweet. I think, at least. I don't know. I really wanted one with VDC, at least for off-road capability. So that is a huge win right there. I didn't know that when I bought it, but I do now. The steering wheel is a little bit messed up still, but it's all clean. It's not in horrible shape. It's in good shape for the mileage, I would say. I did get a new shifter bezel because the last one was really like gross and crusty here, like the paint was peeling and stuff. So I did get a new bezel for that, and that's working well. I'm trying to think. I know there's like other stuff that I replaced in here. Oh, I actually forgot. I got full Harman Kardon speakers, all 6 of them, from a 2015 Legacy sedan 3.6R limited at the junkyard. So we got Harman Kardons in here now. They sound really good. This stereo is definitely holding them back a little bit, but I'm gonna try to do the double din adapter kit or swap in there eventually. I did get a sub for this car too. Nice little Rockford Fosgate P2. So I'm just kind of waiting on what I'm gonna do there, because it's gonna cost a lot of money. Also, I apologize for the trash and stuff down there. It's my bad, but it's probably gonna be a while, because that adapter plate alone for the dash is like $200, and then you got to get a radio, and that's probably another $200, and then it's like, it's just not stuff that I'm willing to spend right now just yet, especially with my other car down, and you know, just trying not to throw a ton of money into this thing right now, and just gonna try to drive it before I get nitpicky about everything. I did replace the driver's side window motor because it didn't work before, and it's still a little bit rough, but I did get a used one from the junkyard, so but it does work. So I mean, I will take it and run with that, because you know, you really don't need to buy new parts all the time. As long as it works for a while, I should be okay. I didn't want to spend like the couple $100 for the new regulator, so I just kind of went with the $20 junkyard one. Or I think it was even less than that, but either way, I did get a new mirror, or at least a glass for that side over there, so that's fixed. And that's working great, so I like that. I just can't adjust the mirrors because the knob is broken. But yeah. All right, so I guess we'll start it up. We'll see the mileage here. You can see it's got 266,973 on the dash. It starts right up. No lights on the dash after I fix that airbag light, so that's a good thing right there. I like that. And it's been rock solid reliable. A lot of people are scared of getting high mileage cars now, and you just got to do your research. As long as you know what you're getting into, like, this thing is really solid, and I can tell that it's just going to keep running and running and running for a long time. Engine solid, transmission solid. I mean, it needs a lot of suspension bushings and things like that, but really, you can't go wrong with one of these things. These 6-cylinders are just so damn good. It's insane, actually. It's like their old 2.2 liters. They just kind of keep running and running and running. People don't give them enough credit. But the other thing, this was out on the last video, and it came back after I was driving for a while. So I don't know if like the LEDs in there, or however that works, the LCD needed to be just recharged or something. But it did come back after I drove it probably like 100 miles or something, so that's good. I didn't need to replace the whole unit there, which I thought I was. But yeah, I mean, it's solid, and those speakers sound good. I'm not gonna really be able to play anything, but yeah, I mean, it works good. I kind of hate doing that because it's not like you guys are gonna be able to tell whether or not it sounds good from my iPhone quality video, but yeah, I'm gonna cut it off and I'm gonna show you guys the back. So I cleaned up the back a lot. I'll close this. And yeah, the back seat cleaned up really well. There's no crust on it anymore. And there's a little bit of stuff here and there, but it's like paint. The guy did have kids that I bought this from, so it kind of just ends up being from that. There's a little bit of blemishes on there, but nothing's like ripped. And they're still in really supple condition, really good leather condition here. I did get also from the junkyard from that 2015 Legacy, I got the full Subaru all-weather floor mats, so I'm super happy about that because these are super nice. The rubber, they have the Subaru brand on them. The driver's side also has them. Or I got them for all four, obviously. It doesn't quite fit perfectly in here because it's not for this car, but it's totally a good upgrade. I was kind of like pressed over buying WeatherTech mats or something just because, you know, I didn't want to spend the money on that, but it ended up working out. I think I paid $40 for all 6 of the Harman Kardon speakers and the floor mats. So it was a pretty good deal, I think, in terms of that. We'll go into the trunk. I still need to get new shocks for this because these ones don't hold it up. Or maybe they hold it up in Phoenix. They don't hold it up very well when it's cold. So like, yeah, I don't know. They need to be replaced for sure. It kind of hits you on the head if you're like working in here, which sucks. Gas mileage wise, it's not great. In town, I get probably like 15 average. So I might as well be driving a 4Runner or a truck, but on the highway, it's pretty good. I get like 26-ish on the highway. So it just kind of depends. It really goes through gas a lot compared to what I was used to with the Forester. Actually, being a turbo, it doesn't go through a lot. If you drive like not a child or whatever, like you don't want to drive it hard and expect to get good gas mileage. But the turbo ones, you can get good gas mileage if you stay out of boost, or at least for the most part. This thing just drinks all the time. Like, it doesn't matter how I drive. If I'm on the gas hard a lot, I'm doing a lot of like ripping through traffic off of lights and everything, gets 15. If I drive regularly in traffic, it still gets like 15. So it's a lot of like idling on this car. It's a very thirsty engine. That's the biggest downfall to this engine that I've like kind of figured out from owning like one of each, I guess, over the years. The 2.5, well, actually, one of my good friends has an 06 2.5i base model, like bare bones base model. It's just got the regular engine and it's a manual transmission, and that thing is like very gutless. There's no power, but she gets like 26 to 30 miles per gallon, like in town and everything. So that would be a good daily. I just like the 6-cylinder. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just kind of like a fan of the Porsche sound, if you will, and the way that it feels. It has like a really good balanced torque, power band and everything. It feels like, I don't want to compare it to this because it's kind of like a weird comparison, but the closest car I've had like a lot of experience with that feels like this is a 2005 4Runner with the V8. It's just like got a lot of low end. You don't have to really push it to get up to speed. It just loves to be driven. It's just like floaty and big and whatever. So, but yeah, I guess my final thoughts here. We're doing good on progress, and I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that I forgot to do. Probably stay tuned for a little bit of cosmetic stuff. I have an XT hood for it, but it's not color matched, so I'm gonna try to paint it myself. So we'll get a hood scoop on there. We're gonna get a new fender on there so that it doesn't look super damaged and stuff. Possibly gonna be getting a new grill here, which is super exciting. And those of you who are 3rd gen Outback fans will understand why when I get that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, you want to see me do anything with this car, you want to see anything about it, anything about the build, I kind of brushed over a ton of stuff. So just let me know. I mean, it's been so far a great car, and I'd love to show you guys like everything with the lift and whatnot. But yeah, let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.